Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I know that this video seems similar. It seems like two videos back to back that are the same, but what I did is I split the videos up so that you could do eyes on one and we could talk about contouring on the other. So we are watching the contour portion of this look right here. I did go in with creams, I went in with powders, I showed you guys how to set it so that it lasts, but I also showed you some tricks so that you don't have to use too much of the dark colors, because that's a little scary and overwhelming in itself. So I will not talk too long in this intro. I will get right into the highlighting and contouring Jovi's way. If you'd like to find out, just keep on watching. All right guys, so we're gonna start here with the face just because this is not a full tutorial. It's just gonna be about contouring and highlighting, and I'm gonna show you how I do it. I'm not gonna go through the entire process of like powder and then we'll compare it to creams, just because it depends honestly on your skin type and what look you're going for ultimately. So we're gonna start off with skin, obviously. I've prepped my skin already with two different primers, and that's just because I am combination skin tone. So I used skin tone, combination skin type. So I used an instant matte pore refiner. This is a new one for us. This is the YSL Instant Matte Pore Refiner. And it is meant to be used after your skincare routine, and it helps areas prone to oiliness. So I love that. And then for the rest of my complexion, I actually did a combination of things. I did the Henriksen Banana Bright Face Primer. You know that I love a glow around the face. I don't like it oily or greasy looking, but I do love that JLo glow. So this is great, especially because it's got vitamin C, banana powder, pigments, and it really does help to brighten the skin, and it's skincare with the actual primer benefits. And then I also use the excuse me, D-Bronzi Anti-Pollution Sunshine Serum. First of all, the sun is setting at like 4:30, which is ridiculous, and I don't know about you, but I work. So I'm not at the beach getting sun when we should be. Why not? Anyways, but this guy right here is by Drunk Elephant, and it's like a shot of sunshine without damaging effects, it says. So you're supposed to add a pump of this to your serum or your moisturizer, and it is a gorgeous glow that is gonna help protect with antioxidants and omega fatty acids. So this is an amazing product. I love this during the summer. I obviously love it during the winter. Definitely check that out. And so for foundation today, we're gonna use this guy, my new favorite full coverage foundation. This is a very nice matte 24-hour full coverage foundation, and this is by Smashbox. I am in the shade 2.18, which is a neutral undertone. I tend to go for neutrals just because I feel like that is the best on my skin. I'm not yellow, I'm not red, I'm not orange, I am neutral. So I'm gonna take a decent amount. Usually start off with like a pea size of this. A little bit is definitely gonna go a long way, so just keep that in mind. And I'm gonna use it with more of like a kabuki brush. I guess you could say this is the JH03 brush. And I love this brush with this foundation. So I'm gonna start off by buffing it on. This foundation immediately neutralizes any discoloration. It evens out the skin tone. I love it. As you can see, it like neutralizes a lot of the pigmentation that I have on my skin. Not that there's a ton, but I do have areas where I'm self-conscious and I can see that there's redness around my nose, my forehead, areas like that. So I'm gonna take around my eyebrows just because put so much work. I'm gonna take a smaller brush. This is the JH08, and it's the same type of buffing brush. It's just smaller so that I can be a little more careless when I'm around this area and not have to have this big old brush around my eyebrows. It's a little intimidating. And I also love it for this. Okay, great. So after that, let's get into what we're here for, the actual contouring part of it. I just wanted to show you guys how I get my face base ready. So I do start with foundation. I don't start drawing lines and then mixing everything together. No, we start with foundation, and then the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to take a contouring. I like to use creams. So I'll use creams, and I do like to sometimes go in and kind of give it a little bit of a backup with the powders, but I do like to do creams underneath. And so what I'll do most of the time, and I'll walk you through it, is I will use a cream product that is in between a contouring and a bronzing shade. And then I will go in with a powder that is gray tone underneath that really does help me contour and carve things out. So today what I'm going to be using is this guy right here, and it is the NARS Pure Radiant Tinted Moisturizers. 9 times out of 10, I will always use a foundation product or a face product to really carve or bronze, contour my face, just because I like the way that the formulas work with the foundations. Not to say that contouring products themselves aren't good, I just find that this works best for me. So I'm gonna take it, first of all, I use it in the shade Polynesia, which is way too dark for me, but it's perfect for contouring. So I take that, about the same pea size on the back of my hand, and we are going to use a BH Cosmetics angled buffing brush. It is very dense, very tightly packed, but that is good because I want to build the product and blend it out. And I do warm it up on the back of my hand first. That's like, kind of like warning you how intense the product is going to come out on this brush, so you kind of get a good idea of how you're going to work it into your skin. So I'm going to do, starting with the hairline, I feel like sometimes the product is really intense when you're first using it. You can kind of get it to be worked into the brush and the skin while you're using it. So I just use it at the forehead first, which is where I like the most color, and I feel like I need the most color. And I'll just work it in, patting it and pushing it into the hairline. And then I will stamp it onto the cheeks. This angle of the brush really helps a lot to just keep it right where it should be, which is on your cheekbones and not the rest of your face. I feel like using too big of a brush is a problem and too small of a brush is a problem. So the angle and the size of this brush is perfect. And again, this is a BH Cosmetics 1 brush in their marbled collection, and it comes in like a whole kit. Once that is done, that's really what I'm going to use as far as creams go. I'm going to go into the highlighting part of it. And so this is where I've always, whoa, get your life together, Joes. Okay, this is where I've really always used 2 different concealers. So I'll use a concealer to conceal, and then I'll use a concealer to highlight. And I know you guys always see me use 2, but I will try to go further into detail for that. So for concealer today, I'm gonna mix these 2 here. They're very different, but that's why I use them. So we're gonna go in and conceal with the Born This Way concealer in the shade Nude. And so this guy helps me to color correct any darkness. It also helps me to conceal any blemish or redness that's left over that the foundation, which there is none, this foundation is amazing, didn't get. And so we're not gonna overdo it, guys. I just always put it right in the inner corner, which is where I have the most discoloration, and blend from there. Depending on how much you need, how much you like, you can always just add product later, but I suggest starting off with a little bit at a time. So I really usually try not to double dip. I'll just work with what's on the wand. This concealer is a very good full coverage concealer. It's also a multi-purposing. I love using a darker shade in this concealer to contour or to bronze. It's really a good product. Formula is amazing. So I'm going to use my Morphe sponge to work this in, and I usually start with the areas furthest away from the under eye. You collect product as you go, so if there's anything left over that you don't need for your forehead or chin, it'll just be on the sponge for your under eyes, which is perfect. Plus, I like to leave that for last so I can go right in with powder and set it. So that's starting to help kind of make our contouring start to make sense and look better. I'm going to take it underneath, and we are going to just follow that up to where it meets our contour. And I like to make sure that I blend the 2 together. And then take advantage and clean up your lines there. I'll also take it right up against the bridge of the nose and start to work my way up, so that we can contour with the lighter shade instead of having to use too many dark shades. like that. So we've got our creams on. So I'm gonna go into this guy now. It is the Boiing Cakeless Concealer by Benefit, and this shade is in the shade 2. This shade is a very bright shade, but this is where we're gonna highlight with our concealer. So I'm gonna take this guy and I'm gonna put it right in the inner corner, and I'm gonna be very light-handed with this. Right where I have the most darkness, where I'm gonna put that baby right there, and then I'm gonna take some on the bridge of my nose. So we're playing with lights, we're playing with shadows. You don't have to carve out your entire face with concealers just to do the highlighting. That's not what you want to do. You want to make sure that you are playing and working with your face and its natural shadows so that you can counteract them with your highlights and then create shadows where you want them for your contour. I'm going to follow that up here and blend it into the center of my face. Ideally, the concept behind highlighting is that there is a light bulb following you around today. And wherever that light bulb will naturally cast light is where you want to naturally place your highlight. So you see how that started to contour my nose out some? That's the idea. And we haven't even, I didn't touch my nose with the bronzer or a contouring shade. That's just all playing with our highlighting and concealing concealers. Okay, so the next thing I'm gonna do is set my face, and I'm gonna set it using my Coty Airspun powder. This guy here, whenever I'm layering so many things, is amazing. So the Coty Airspun is really gonna help to just seal, and it's gonna help to hide most of my pores if the primer didn't do so. So I'm gonna use it using a puff. And what I like to do is press it into the concealer so that it is pushing everything together and also concealing my pores. Anywhere we put concealer, we're putting this powder. Boom. Like it. So right as we have this powder, we're gonna take it and we are going to carve out underneath where we put that bronzing contouring shade right here, so we can start to clean up some. Right, so this powder does not need long on the skin to work. So what I like to do is take a nice fluffy brush like this guy, and we are going to use a foundation powder just to kind of help us set everything. This is the MAC Studio Fix C5.5, and I'm just gonna take a little bit of that and clean up my bakage. This is just how I do it. Again, if you're someone who doesn't use powders, you really don't need to add that to this routine because the foundation is such a good coverage. So this is not for coverage at all. This is just to kind of help undo some of the baking powders sometimes leave like that residue, and I don't like it. So I want to undo that before it happens. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna use, like I said, the gray tones to kind of help us. And I like to go into my Kat Von D Shade and Light palette. This palette comes with the 3 different mini palettes that she offers built into it. I bought it when she didn't have that option. But what's nice for you now is she has an option where you can buy these individually and you can do a light, medium, or deep tone, which is great for you. So I'm gonna take the light. I like to work with the light and kind of build it up a little. And we're gonna contour it up. So this is that shade right here. The medium shade for me is almost like a bronzer because it's got so much warmth to it, so I usually always use it as a bronzer. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna put it right where that line is, and we are going to start to work that up into the cream bronzer. See that? You see the tone difference? So we're just trying to hollow out and create shapes here. I'm going to do the same thing with it right underneath my chin. From behind the ear, underneath the chin. Just to kind of create that sharpness. You see? Double chin. Definition. Okay, great. So once we've carved out both, I usually like to go in and also do a little bit on the forehead area, and I'll just follow the temple down just to kind of shape my face a little bit. Just follow that down here into the hairline a little bit. Great. And then what I'll do is I will take that middle shade and I will bronze up the skin. A lot of the times, like I said, that Coty Airspun powder might take some of the color that we've already put into the face, and I don't like to be colorless, to be bronzed and warm. So we'll just put a little bit back, reinforce it. All right, so we've got our definition, we've got our contouring on. Let's go into the highlighting with the powder part of it. So this guy right here, there's two powders into the palette that I really like to use. There's the pink and there's the yellow to brighten underneath. There is this random orange. Now orange is really good for deep skin tones. Or for us, if you're using this entire palette, again, it's sold separately, you can use it to kind of clean up and then do some of the chalky, like messy contouring that happens sometimes. And it really does that very well. So that's an option for you there. What I'm gonna do is take a nice pointed tapered brush and we are going to pick up those two colors. And we're just gonna kind of dust off that powder underneath with those two colors to help brighten. And you see how I did one of the eyes and it helps to like brighten more. Perfect, and I'll do that. So that is the contouring part of it. I'm gonna go ahead and finish off my face off camera and then I will be back. Okay, so I finished up the contouring. I put some highlight on. I finished the rest of my face. And so the only other thing that I did was just put highlight, and then for blush, I'm just going to add a little bit of this NARS compact. I'm gonna mix a few of the shades, and I just like to make sure that I kind of play with what's going on my face already, not to overdo the blush. Sometimes I even skip it, to be honest with you, but yeah, that's it. That's it for contouring, guys. I hope that it was a simple contour video. I didn't want to overwhelm you. I didn't want to do way too much. I just wanted to show you what I would do if I were doing a contouring routine, which I did. So if you guys have any questions on contouring, please don't forget to comment down below. Hit the thumbs up button. That way I know you guys like content like this, and subscribe to my channel so you know when I upload. I will see you guys next time.